Welcome to another episode of the Wholesale Elite Podcast. My name is Isham and I'm joined by my main dude, Mr. Tanner Stantucci. What up, bro?
What's up, bro? This is be a good episode.
This is going to be an excellent episode. And to anyone who's not watching right now, the gentleman that I'm going to about to announce is someone that you've probably heard of because he's all over the socials. His content is phenomenal, and he is one prolific entrepreneur who does live in the real estate space, but I just can't wait to pick his brain about the life of a no bullshit entrepreneur. So I want to welcome to the show, Mr. Abraham Gray. What's up, sir?
What's up? It's good to be here. Happy to have you. Happy to be here.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We're so excited, man. If you guys aren't looking right now, I want you to jump on the YouTube and watch this and look at all the companies that are behind Abraham. Abraham is an entrepreneur, to say, I don't know if that's a title you'd call yourself, but that's what I definitely call you, a real entrepreneur, someone who builds businesses, someone who knows how to attract money. And knows how to generate it. And so I wanted to dive in because, Abraham, one of the things that's unique about our show is we don't go into a lot of the tactics, right? There's a lot of wholesaling stuff out there and a lot of real estate stuff that are tactic. But we like to talk mindset, man. We really like to talk about the journey of a person and just really understand what makes a person successful, and so, dude, I would love to understand your origin story.
Mindset's the most important thing. Like, without mindset, nothing else even matters because you can't do anything. So 100%, that's awesome that you touch on that. And yeah, hit me up with any questions. I'll tell you, what I do, and I'm happy to tell you. Where do you want me to start at?
Let's go with the origin story. So, where are you from? What gave you this spirit of going out and just kicking ass and doing all this stuff, no fear?
So I was born in Miami, actually, back in 1975. But I've lived in Georgia most of my life since I was 15, and I'm 47. So I've lived here 32 years. But I grew up with my parents. They got divorced when I was, 1 year old or whatever. And I lived with my mom for a little while and then ended up moving to my dad for a couple of years. And then basically when I was like 11, 12 years old, I moved out of both parents' house. I never really got along with my parents, and I was always a troublemaker in school. And from like 11, 12, all the way through 15, I was in foster family to foster family to foster. And then I went to boarding school for like a year and a half. And then I went to a few more foster families. And then ended up ultimately moving to my grandmother's house and lived there for multiple years until I ended up getting my own place and everything. So
did you have siblings?
My mom never had any more kids. My dad got remarried and had 4 kids besides me, but I'm like 11 years older than them. So the oldest one, I'm 11 years older, and then there's I'm 13 years older. 15 years older. I never knew him. I never knew him because I was already out of the house by the time they were born, except for the oldest one. The oldest one was a baby. I lived with my dad. He was a baby, and I kind of moved out, before he was 1. So I never knew him as more than a baby, really.
So 11 and 15, you were in foster homes. What came next?
So I moved in with my grandmother, and that's how I moved to Atlanta. So my grandmother lived in Atlanta, and I moved to Atlanta to live with her, and I've been here ever since.
Awesome. Okay, so when you moved with your grandma, did you get back into school, or did you just have to work a job, or what was work life for you back then?
Yeah, so what's crazy is I went to school. I moved here. I was basically a freshman in high school. So I finished high school. I did high school here, but I got a job when I was 15. Right when I moved here, I got a job just so I could make some money because I always, just wanted to make money. And I worked at like a grocery store. And that was the only job I ever had in my whole life. I worked there for like a year. But at the same time, I was working at this grocery store. Nobody even knows I worked there because that's the only job I've ever had where I worked for somebody. But I collected sports cards my whole life. And I turned that into basically a business when I was 15. So I would sell baseball cards on the internet and on the side at some sports card shows. And then on the weekends, I did a little bit of both. I worked at the grocery store in the summer and did baseball cards. And I ended up toward the end of when I was 15, started doing really, really well with baseball cards. And so I quit the grocery store and basically just went to baseball cards full time. And I started once I was 16, I was able to start driving. So I got like a really cheap car, so I was just able to drive. And I went to sports card shows and actually started setting up and buying and selling stuff, and just got really, really good at it and better. Started making a lot of money, and that's kind of where it all started, where I started making decent money.
What came after sports cards?
So back in 1997, up until 1997, I was like huge into sports cards. And 1997, something became really popular called Beanie Babies. And literally, I was setting up at these baseball card shows, and these middle-aged women would come there and set up with a whole table full of Beanie Babies. I'm like, this is a sports card show. What are people doing with stuffed animals here? And I'd make fun of them. I'd be like, what the hell are they doing here? These crazy, no one's going to come buy that crap. And then I would see that over, the course of a few months, their tables were busier than my table. I'm like, what in the world's going on? Now I started getting jealous. So I started going to their tables. I started talking to them. I'm like, what is this stuff? How do you get it? Where is this stuff? And they started explaining it to me. I'm like, well, shit, if that's how you do it. I started to try to figure it out. And then I got into Beanie Babies from there. So there was like a period of maybe 1 or 2 years where I sold baseball cards and Beanie Babies at the same time. And then I was just making so much on Beanie Babies that it just wasn't even worth messing with baseball cards anymore. So I just totally sold every card I have and never did cards ever since then. So since the 1998, I was out of baseball cards for forever. I haven't done any since, and was in Beanie Babies for many, many years. So I actually made my first $1 million in baseball cards. By the time I was 19, I had $1 million saved and made. And my first $10 million was off Beanie Babies. I made over $10 million in Beanie Babies.
So you're saying there's hope, because I collect baseball cards. That's one of my hobbies.
If you know what you're doing, you can definitely turn it into a business. I mean,
right.
So from what I understand, because I haven't been in it for a while, but I have friends that are, they made the last 2 years, as real estate was super hot the last 2 years, baseball cards were too. And people made a crazy amount of money in baseball cards. But when real estate, it's funny enough how it all correlates, but when real estate kind of died down a lot over the last 5 months, so did baseball cards. So people in the baseball card business, actually most of their cards went down like crazy over the last 5 years, just like real estate went down like crazy the last 5 years. Now there's still people that make a lot of money in real estate, like me and probably you guys and a bunch of people but I would say most of the people that were making money in real estate, especially wholesalers, most of them I know went out of business the last 4 or 5 months. And a lot of them are now had to go get regular jobs. But the same thing with baseball cards. A lot of people that were making a ton, now only the best people are, the best people are always going to make money. And even the decent people. But for the last 2.5 years, you could be a total idiot and not know what you're doing and just make mistakes and still make money in real estate, because every single month it went up. So if you just screwed up, it was always worth more. But so now it's getting a little tougher and you have to really know what you're doing. But that's kind of the story. And Beanie Babies were crazy.
Well, dude, I mean, it definitely sounds like you're an opportunist. It's not like 100%. It's not like Beanie Babies were your passion, or maybe not even baseball cards, but you saw an opportunity and so you went for it. Was it, with your intro into the real estate world, was it the same, or did you just buy a house, for your family and you sold it and you made some money? You're like, oh my God, there's money here. How did the real estate world come in? So
when I was 15 is when I really got into business, and I made a lot of money all through my teens and in my early 20s. And then I saw some people, they're like, look, you're making so much money, what are you doing with all the money? I always reinvested it, but they're like, you know what, you should diversify more and get into real estate. And I found I had a couple friends that were a little bit older that were making a lot of money renting houses and flipping houses, and they're like, look, let me show you what I do, maybe you should be interested in doing that too. So when I was 22, I bought my first house. And I bought it and I moved into it, and that was my primary home. But literally within 6 months, I bought 3 more houses to rent out. And this is back when I was 22. So again, this is over 25 years ago. And I literally still have some of those homes I bought 25 years ago today. I had 30-year mortgages on them. I have 5 more years left and they're paid off. I never refinanced them. So, but I've sold some of this stuff. And I just got into renting. I was just renting, buying homes and renting them. And then I started fix and flipping. And as I had my businesses, I always did real estate and business all simultaneously. So I got really, really good at business, and I got really, really good at real estate. And back then, like Carlton Sheets was like the guru of real estate. So I bought all of Carlton Sheets programs back when I was a teenager in my early 20s. Learned from him. He was a no money down, like the Pace Warby of back then. And I learned a lot from him, and I bought stuff using some of his techniques. And that's how I got into real estate. Just really to have passive income, because when I was doing all my businesses back then, I worked in them all. I was sweating. I was doing a lot of work, and it wasn't really passive. I enjoyed it. I liked sports cards, but I wanted to have more. So I figured if I bought rental properties over the years, and the more I bought, I would just eventually, by the time I'm 40 or 50, just have a crazy money rental portfolio just come in every month without really having to do much. So that was kind of the goal at the time. It's kind of my views changed since then. I have a few hundred rental properties now, but I do it a little bit differently because now I'm at a different level. So that's how it all started. That's how real estate started. And I've never not done real estate, but what I'll tell you is that when real estate, so over the last 25 years since I've been in real estate, there's like these highs and lows, like it goes really high, then it tanks, then it goes really high, then it tanks. Any single time it gets really, really hot, I'm like super, super involved, and I spend most of my time on real estate and not as much on business. But then when they're kind of leveled off or on the low side, then I spend a ton of time on business and not as much on real estate. And it just goes like that every 10 years. There's a few years I'm really, really hot in real estate. But even when I'm not super hot in real estate, I still do some. I just don't focus most of my time on it. The last 2.5 years, most of my time has been on real estate because it's actually the hottest market I've ever seen since I started. It was just crazy. Even like in 2006, 7, 5, 6, 7 when it was crazy hot. It wasn't as hot as it was the last 2 years. I was literally buying for the last 2.5 years, one house every single day. I bought 30 houses a month, and I flipped them all, and I probably made around $35,000 a house profit. So, I was making over $1 million a month in profit just on fixing and flipping homes for the last 2.5 years. And then that was just on flipping homes. Then, I bought a lot of creative deals. I bought a lot of rentals. I bought, I do a lot of loans out to people. So I had, and of course, all my businesses I still have. So, the last few years were really, really good.
Man, dude, the first question that comes to mind is, do you sleep? Like it sounds like, you're going after it all the time. But what I do know is you're a family man, you've got a wife and how many kids?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. Okay.
I have a 11-year-old girl, and then I have a 13 and 14-year-old boy.
Awesome. Well, dude, I don't want to ask you the obvious question of how do you do it with kids, but I do want to kind of circle around the mindset, because I know a lot of people feel guilty or they feel held back by their family when they're not, when they're not focused on it because they've got business or they've got other things to tend to. Have you ever dealt with that?
All the time. Actually, by the way, guys, I made so my biggest focus over the last 6 months and this year is to really go all out into like YouTube videos, social media. Like I want everyone to see like crazy good videos. So like I'm putting out, you guys have watched all my YouTube videos. I'm putting out like lots of cool videos. Like every week I'm putting out 2 videos. Right. I actually just made a video about what you just asked me that I put out like a couple weeks ago. If everyone should follow this, Abraham Gray, Gray. Watch the videos. I talked about, all my videos are how I made money in business, how I made money in real estate, and how mindset works and how to have a better life, how to build rapport, how just everything. That's what my videos are about. So you asked me, this is the reason why I brought up the video, because I just made this video. So you asked me about basically work-life balance.
Sure.
How do I spend enough time with my family, and how do they feel I'm spending a lot of time with them and working a lot and doing all this stuff? How does it all balance together, right? So basically, this is the way, I definitely spend a decent amount of time with my family, and obviously everyone thinks they do, and then the wives or whatever, like, oh, you don't spend enough. That's pretty much how I see it all over the place. But I made it very simple. Like me and my wife, we get along great. Like we've been together since 1997. We've been together 26 years. So we've been together forever. But this is how, and we get along great. We never have problems, minor stuff here and there, way less than anybody else you'd know, right?
Sure.
So this is, I use the same things I use in business and real estate in my relationship. It's all about compromise. It's all about having win-win. I figure out what's important to her, figure out what's important to me, and figure out the way to get it. So the way I did the work-life balance as far as relationship, as far as how much time I spend and how much time I don't spend, is I break it down like this. And if you think about it like this is how everyone should break it down to their significant other, right? I say, look, do you want me to spend 50 hours a week with you, but not, but I won't be happy the whole time because, I know I need to work some more. I need to do other stuff that I enjoy. You want me to spend that much time with you, but me not be super happy and thrilled and get along with you great the whole time because I have other stuff on my mind? Or do you want me to spend 20 hours a week with you, but those 20 hours a week are going to be such quality time because I've done everything else I wanted to do, and this is going to be just focused on you and just, and that's basically the way you put it. I can spend more time with you, but we're going to get in arguments because I'm not going to be that happy, the whole time. Or I should spend the right amount of time with you and we're just going to have the best time. I think quality time is more important than quantity time.
Absolutely. Well, let me throw this out there, and not to be a devil's advocate or anything, but just out of curiosity. So let's say, I know it's kind of hypothetical, but let's say, she opts for the 20, the 20 hours a week of quality time. You've got a lot of stuff going on. Are you able to shut your phone off and not respond to emails and to really be present in those 20 hours? Or are there times where you kind of have to answer a phone call because there's a fire, something's going on?
So obviously I have my phone with me all the time. I could look and see if it's an important call or not, but the time that I'm spending is we have our date night every Friday night, so Friday night, business is over. I go after business hours. Who's going to really call you Friday night? It doesn't really happen that much. So I don't really get business calls Friday night, but if it's something super, super important, yeah, I'll answer it. It's not the end of the world, but most of the time I won't answer it unless, I know it's super important. And then, Saturday, Sunday, the weekends, so I don't really do that much business on the weekends. I don't get bothered that much on the weekends. Yeah, I'll get some calls here and there. But if I'm doing something super important then I won't answer them. But yeah, I'll still answer them on the weekend as long as we're, in a time that makes sense to answer it, or if it's a really important call. But gotcha. She'll have calls, I'll have calls. We respect each other's time, and we also respect each other's what you need to do, and we don't want anyone to do anything that's gonna adversely hurt them if they don't answer the wrong call or do
right.
Yeah, you were respectful about it when we do it.
Now, there's a lot of talk, especially over the last few years, about just the importance of setting up all these routines and whatnot. Are you a morning routine kind of guy?
Oh, I hate fucking mornings. I actually, no, I'm a night person. So basically, I don't even get up until my alarm clock gets set at 8:45. So I get up 8:45, 9 o'clock every day, and I'm people know not to fucking bother me or call me until 10 because I don't get to the office till 10. I don't want to be bothered until 10. I'm miserable. I'm always the happiest person. You'll never see someone happier, smiling, laughing more than me. Literally, I'm always like that, except in the morning. So I won't even answer the calls because I know I'm gonna be grouchy. So, but after 10 o'clock, I'm good the rest of the day. So, I work till 6:30. Then I go to the gym, and then I go home, eat, hang out at the house a little bit, and then that's pretty much my routine. On the weekends, I spend more time with family, and we have date nights and different things we do with my daughter, sons, and all that stuff.
Perfect. So when you are working, when you mash the button at 10 and you're on, what do you determine? You know what I mean? What do you determine you do first? Because you've got a lot of stuff going on. Tanner and I, this is our only business, so it's easy. We get up and kind of have our checklist of what we need to do. But for you, how do you handle this with so much going on? How do you prioritize?
It's pretty easy. So I have a calendar, and everything that I'm supposed to do for the next week is in my calendar. And as stuff gets added, I'll just add it. But it's very rare that a day will start and I don't know what I have planned that day. So I have some closings I go to. I have some meetings. I'll have some podcasts. I'll have some events I do, and those I know, and that's what I'm doing. And then in between that, I'm basically just answering emails, texts, and Facebook Messenger and Instagram or whatever. So pretty much I have on my calendar every day 3-4 things that I have to do, that I'm meeting different people. And then the rest of the day is just, new deals that come through, just kind of working through them.
What's one of the sorry, Tanner, I'm like asking all these questions. But what's one of the last things you did that's out of your comfort zone?
Everything I do is in my comfort zone. There's nothing I'm uncomfortable with. Like I'm super comfortable with just about anything. I mean, like give me an example of something that you'd be uncomfortable with.
Ooh, man, I'm trying to think in your shoes, because that's why I wanted to ask that question. I feel like you're a kind of guy that'll just attack anything.
Well, I'm at a point where I don't do anything I don't enjoy doing. I don't do anything I don't feel comfortable doing. I don't do anything that I don't want to do. Like I only do the stuff I want to do. So I just haven't done anything uncomfortable in a long time. Just I don't have to. Like I've literally made more money than probably just about anybody you know. Like even like all the gurus and all these different people, they're more well known and they have these great things, but I've made more money. Like I don't have to do like anything. Everything I do when I get up is stuff I enjoy. I love doing this stuff. Like I love talking to people. I love being on these type of events. I love, going through questions and answers with people. I love helping people. And I love, getting deals and closing on them and negotiating them. That's what I love doing. And that's what I do. And I have partners in all my businesses, including real estate, that do the stuff I don't like to do. I don't like, being in charge of all these employees. I don't like, being in charge of all the rehab. I don't like, doing all the accounting and legal stuff all the time. I know how to do it all, but I don't enjoy it. So my partner does all that. So, I mean, literally every night I go to bed, I can't even wait to get up because everything I have on my calendar for the next day is stuff I really want to do. Like I was looking forward to talking to you guys. I was looking forward to the meeting I had before you. I was looking forward to closing this deal and, negotiating this crazy, creative deal or whatever deal it is. I love that stuff. That's what makes me, makes me happy and makes me want to keep going. And, I see the progress. When you see progress, it's fun and it gives you a self of, that you progress. So I love that stuff. So I'm comfortable. There's really nothing. I mean, I just don't do that stuff.
I love that. I mean, that's inspirational to me because it seems like it, if I could guess, I would say that probably the last time you were uncomfortable was when you're at the grocery store and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then from there on,
I don't mind going to the grocery store. The grocery store.
Okay. Well, it just seems like from there on, you just did stuff that you wanted to do. That you were excited, that you were curious about. And so there was never a moment where you felt like you were rolling the dice and taking a risk and you were uncomfortable. You're just like, look, we'll figure it out. If something happens, we'll just get over it.
I know. So here's the thing, you're uncomfortable because you're in a problem situation that you can't figure out how to solve. I mean, I love solving problems. Like every single person that has like an issue, they'll call me like, oh, what would you do? And then I just like in 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, this is what I would do. And I give it to them like, holy shit. Like, why did I think of that? I don't know why you think that. To me, it's just common sense, but like, I love solving these issues. So, I mean, basically if you're uncomfortable, then there's some sort of problem. And, I just figure out how to make myself comfortable. I figure out how to get out of that, make that problem go away.
Do you think entrepreneurs are born or made or a little bit of both?
Definitely a little bit of both. Definitely a little bit of both. I think, for the most part, anyone could do it. But I think, some people are not going to be able to do it as good as other people. But anyone could do it. And you could, if you really, really want to get good at it, and you find the right people to hang around, and you find the right people to teach you, and you find the right people to partner with and mentor you, you could get super high level.
If you're someone who wants to hang around these types of people, but you feel like you have no value to offer, what would your suggestion be to one of these up and coming entrepreneurs who wants to do exactly what you're saying, but they're like, crap, man, I feel like I got no value to bring?
Every single person has value to bring to somebody else. So like, no matter how good off or how smart you are, or how wealthy you are, or how whatever you're doing, there's people that are good at other stuff. Like, I'm really, really good at what I do, but I suck at 90% of the stuff. Like you guys are a million times better than me at the stuff you're good at. It's not even close, right? So you just got to figure out a way to use the stuff that you're good at, that I'm not good at, and use it to be able to show me and be able to help me with it. Like, think about it like this. Everybody is good at stuff, right? And if anyone's like, and by the way, I think it's awesome that, Jamil told you to start, your podcast and to start social media. It's really important. But a lot of people that he's probably told that to, or that you've told people to do, you're like, oh, well, I have nothing to offer people. Like, I don't know shit. Like, I'm trying to learn. I don't know anything, right? And there's a lot of people out there that think they know nothing. And this is the way that I could show them that they know a lot more than they think, right? So how old are you, for instance?
Me, I'm 42.
You're 42. Let's just say somebody came to me that was 42. Let's say they were 30. It doesn't matter. Or 25. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to use you, for example. So let's just say you had bad self-esteem and you thought you weren't good at anything. You would come to me and be like, I can't start a podcast. I can't teach anyone anything because I don't know anything. And then what I'd say is, well, how old are you? You're 42. Okay. Well, when you were 25, is there things that you know now that you didn't know when you were 25 or 20 or whatever age, 15, that you would have loved to have told your 25-year-old self or your 20-year-old self? And every single person I've ever said that to is like, holy fuck, man, I've learned so much over the last 5 years, 10 years. If I could have known when I was 25, when I know now I'm 42, I would have been 100 times better. Well, shit, there's a million 25-year-olds that were in your position that you could help, And let's say you were only 25. Well, when you were 15, what didn't you know now that you know when you're 25? So no matter what, if you think about how much more you know now that you didn't know then, there's so many people in that shoe that didn't know shit at that younger age that you know now. So just think about what you know now that you didn't know then, and that's all the shit you could teach those type of people.
Dude, that's incredible insight. Just to be a little selfish, this broadcast mic that I'm staring at right now, I bought this thing. It's funny because I saw it Facebook, memories will pop up. I bought this thing 7 years ago. And I bought it with the intention of starting a podcast. And it was a whole different podcast that I wanted to start. Yeah. But I got out of that industry and then I just lingered. And something was always telling me, man, like, get your voice out there. Like, you've got a message to share. But for years, I didn't believe. I really didn't believe it. I didn't believe in myself. So much doubt and insecurity held me back. What are people going to think? What if, I'm not a subject matter expert in anything. I've never done anything consistently my whole life. Who am I to be behind this mic? And so when it actually came time to start this podcast, I feel like, maybe it's just because I'm at the age I am now, but I felt like, yeah, I may not have anything to offer, let's say, so to speak, in terms of valuable insight. But what I do have is an innate curiosity. I am so curious about people, and I love surrounding myself with like-minded people, with entrepreneurs, with people that think business, think strategy. And so I'm like, I'm just going to do a podcast where I'm just asking other people about their life, and I won't have to explain anything about mine. And so that's kind of the birth, but that's super impactful. Thanks for sharing that, man.
If you think about the stuff that you know now that you didn't know a year ago, how much stuff could you have taught yourself a year ago? It's crazy. You know what I mean? So literally all these years of things that you've learned every single year, it's unbelievable. Like, if you just thought about it for a few hours and wrote down every single thing you would teach your younger self, you could teach a million things. So, but anyway, that's just to put it in perspective for people because you said that you talked about mindset and all that. If you think about it that way, everyone should believe in themselves. So
absolutely.
But yeah, so what else you got?
Is there a criticism or an insult that you've heard about yourself that you actually see as a strength?
So no matter what, you're always going to have haters, right? There's always going to be people that are going to say stuff. And, some of it's true. Some of it's, exaggerated. But the truth of the matter is that that drives you just to do better. Like, what I see is anyone that really talks bad about you or hates you is kind of jealous, or they don't know how to get there, and that's what makes them happy. Like, they're just miserable people, and that's what it's crazy. So those are the types of people you don't want to be around, because those are the types of people that are going to bring you down. But they're typically negative people, because a normal person that's not negative will never really think that about people, unless you're just really jealous of that person. So you should never be jealous of people. I mean, obviously in Astro, we talk about how we should always collaborate, help everybody and stuff like that. That's what makes everyone better. I mean, literally, that's how I made so much money in just over the years. Like, instead of hating on people and trying to bring them down, I just work with them and we figure out ways to make money together, collaborate. So anyone that does that type of stuff is pretty much someone that you don't want to be around. Now, there are people that will say stuff, in a good way, just to make you better. But I don't think you're talking about that. But yeah, your friends and your family, they'll be like, look, I'm gonna give you some tips of some stuff you could change and get better. But if people are like that, then obviously, listen to them. If a few people say the same thing, then change, because they're giving you good advice.
Right. Okay. Awesome, dude. What, in the world of business, let's go specifically real estate. What's one of the greatest lessons that you've learned so far that came out of real estate?
Man, there's a lot of lessons. So with real estate, you've got to be able to understand the market, and you got to be able to comp properties. So I think the thing that starts with getting someone that's really good and someone that's not really good in real estate is understanding what the values of stuff. So in every single business, you got to understand the value of whatever business you're in. So in real estate in particular, if you don't know how to comp a property, how in the world are you ever going to be able to fix and flip? How are you ever going to be able to wholesale? How are you ever going to be able to buy rentals? How can you do anything? So being able to understand what stuff's worth and comp or value stuff is super critical in any business, because without that, you can't do anything. You can't go any further, right? So that's the beginning. But what I realized also in real estate is that networking is crazy important. Like literally, people ask me, how do I buy so many properties every single month? Well, I put my name out there. Everybody knows who I am. I'm on every single Facebook board. I'm on every single Atlanta, real estate, community. I'm in Astro Flipping, Sub 2, a whole bunch of other groups. And then I do deals with so many people, and everyone's like, oh man, this guy I just had an unbelievable deal with, and nothing went wrong. It was smooth, it was fast. And then that word gets around, and that's how I get more and more business. So it all comes down to networking, being a good person. You have to be a good person. You got to be honest. You can't screw people. And if anything, you got to go the opposite direction. When I do a deal with someone, I want to make sure that they got the better end of the deal all the time. I want them to have 55% of the plus, and I'll be on 45. You always, because in the long run, that's going to come back and make you a lot of money, because people want to keep dealing with you, and they're going to come to you first. So I learned that networking, being just honest and having good rapport with people and doing everything that you say, that takes you a long way, and that's what we've done in real estate, and of course that translates to other businesses as well.
What's a question that you almost wish more people would ask you that doesn't get asked you enough?
Man, I get asked so many questions all the time. Like I've literally had everything asked, but the things that I love people asking me is just questions that are gonna, if I answer it, will help them better their life. Like there's so many questions people ask me that I'm happy to tell you, but that answer is not gonna really, help you enough. Right. I like people asking me questions that they're gonna get something something so good that they're gonna be able to use. I love people asking me questions that they're gonna take something from my answer and implement it right away. So those are the questions that I really, really like, because I love when people come to me a few months later, 6 months later, a year later, like, oh man, I don't know if you remember, but a year ago, you told me this, and this, and I changed everything based on that. And oh my God, I did so much better. I made this much more money. I'm in a much better relationship. And those are the things that are super cool.
Gosh, man, that's super powerful. Tanner, jump in here, man. I'm dominating this conversation.
No, you're good, man. I'm just sitting here soaking all this in, so you're good. No, one question I will have for you though is, what do you think it takes to grow a business from 100,000 to $1 million? What's the key steps to that?
Yeah, so I do a lot of different strategies to grow from 100,000 to $1 million, but there's a bunch of different ways to do it. Obviously, you could be good at marketing. You can have obviously good customer service. What I love to do is I love to buy competitors out and instantly grow overnight. So that's the fastest way. So I actually made some videos on YouTube on a few different businesses. So I have had hundreds and hundreds of businesses. Today, right now, I still have dozens of businesses. And the way I grow a lot of them right now is I'm focused on buying competitors and buying people that I could implement their business into mine and basically use the same customers. So recently I've bought a bunch of gyms and took their members and put it into my gyms. I bought I have some trophy stores and engraving stores, and I bought other competitors and just combined customers. And literally that's the fastest way. You can literally overnight double your income, because if you're buying a company that's similar to yours, you have all these extra customers. I could sell their customers my stuff, and vice versa. So we could sell them a lot more stuff. We can get rid of a lot of the cost of, because now that we're together and stuff like that. So it's called a bolt-on. They're bolt-on businesses. It's basically buying. So I love buying businesses I don't even own, just brand new businesses, as long as they're profitable. There's 3 things I look for in a business when I buy it. The first thing is it has to be profitable, and it has to be at least 6 figures profitable. It has to make at least 100,000, 200,000 a year for me to really be interested. There's always exceptions. One of the biggest exceptions is when I'm buying bolt-ons, I don't care necessarily how much they're making because I'm combining theirs into mine. So I can kind of, but if it's a standalone business, it has to be making at least 6 figures. It has to have, these are the 3, there's a lot of important things. The 3 most important is it has to be that profitable. The second thing is it has to have management team in place. So people always ask, well, how do you hire all these people? How do you, train all these different people? Well, I have ways to do it, but when I'm buying a business, I keep everybody, like if I buy a business and there's not a manager in place or a management team in place, that's a deal killer. Like even if the business is very profitable, most of the time I won't buy it for that particular reason. Now there's ways I could buy it and get people in that place, but it takes a lot of time, and time's really valuable because the more time I have to spend, that's the less stuff I could buy, less homes I could buy, less, because I'm the one that like underwrites everything, finds it, negotiates it. So like if I have to like now also try to get a whole bunch of people to run it, and then it's just gonna take a lot of time, I'm gonna lose more money. So that's my second most important thing. And then my third most important thing is, and this is the same thing in business as it is in real estate, I only buy stuff from motivated sellers. They have to be motivated sellers. You probably heard that a shitload in real estate, but think about it. Like if they're not motivated, they're going to want full price. They're going to want all the money up front. But like if they're motivated, then you could get a good deal on it, and you can get great terms. And the terms are most important to me, more important than the price, right? There's 2 things to every deal. There's a price and terms. But when they're motivated, they're going to give you a better price and definitely give you better terms. So that's what I always look for. And I look for motivated sellers that have really, really good businesses, right? I look for distressed sellers with very profitable businesses. I don't look for distressed businesses with, whatever sellers. They have to be good businesses with distressed sellers, right? A distressed business is a business that's breaking even, losing money. A distressed owner is someone that just wants to get out. And what makes an owner distressed? These are the types of owners I go after, right? Motivated owners. And there's probably like a dozen to 15 that I go after over and over. But the top 4 or 5 are first people that are retiring. If you're about to retire, you only have a couple options. You have either to like hand it over to your kids or someone like that. And most people that I've seen, their kids don't want their business, right? It's not a sexy business. It's something, their kids are doing something totally different. So very few people could hand it to their kids. So they're about to retire and they have nobody, to inherit the business. That would be one of the major reasons. Another big one, and about a lot of businesses like this, where people are about to go through a divorce. When people are about to go through a divorce, it's very, very messy to figure out the value of the business and split it, especially if only like the husband or the wife runs it, and the other one has no idea what to do. So divorce, I get a lot of good deals with divorce, and people are so focused on the divorce that their mind's not even all clear. They just want to get rid of everything else just to make sure that everything, especially if it's a messy divorce. So people that are about to, that are sick, have something came up and now they're in the hospital, or they just can't focus their time on the business because they have, medical issues. That's a big one. That's a really big one. I get really good motivated sellers. I had people that like move, right? I had people that like want to move from Atlanta to California. They feel like they can't run the business if they're out of town. They could, but most people don't know how. So moving is a big motivation. Another really, really big one is they might have a business making $1 million a year, but they have some opportunity to go to another business that's making $2 million a year, but they can't do the $2 million a year profitable business if they're stuck in this $1 million a year. And for them, the 1 million is no good anymore because they have something better. But for someone that's making $500,000, that's incredible. You know what I mean? So they're motivated because basically what it boils down to is they have a better opportunity, and it could be a better opportunity to make more money. And I've seen it where they have a better opportunity, maybe not even making more money, but maybe having a better lifestyle. Maybe now they're working, 60 hours a week, and they could do something that they're working 30 hours a week. Or maybe they could work and they could do something on the beach, and that's where they want to be. Or they could be in the mountains, or they could wherever they want to be. So maybe the opportunity is money, or just less work, or a better environment. Those are some of the big ones. Of course, I could go through and tell you a whole bunch of others, but I know you don't have so much time and you want to go through other stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I look for. Those are the 3 main things I look for, and that's how I grow businesses super fast. But again, good customer service, marketing, the stuff that's kind of, you just got to do the right stuff and get your name out there, and you grow. That's how you grow.
Now, I've heard you say "we" a couple times, and I don't know if it's, if you're just kind of being generous to your entire troop of employees and team or whatnot. But do you have like a core group of people that you work with that help you launch all these companies?
Yeah. So I say we because less than 5% of the businesses I have, I own by myself. Like 95% of businesses, I have partners. A lot of businesses, I have one partner. Some I have two. Some I even have 3 or 4. And every business I have a partner. And the reason why is because I could do everything myself. I could run all the businesses myself, but then I'm doing everything. Then I'm doing like the stuff I really enjoy. Finding the business, growing the business, negotiating, doing the underwriting, all that, which I enjoy. But then I'm going to have to also, operate it. I'm going to have to be in charge of all these employees. I'm going to have to do it. I don't enjoy that stuff. So I find my partners that are really, really good at the operating and they enjoy it, but they hate the creative stuff. They hate finding it. They hate negotiating. So, all my partners are opposite than me pretty much in most of my businesses. Like, I don't know if you know Pace and Cody, but like Pace is like the one that likes to go out and be creative and, negotiate and talk to sellers and all that. Where Cody hate doing that stuff. He wants to be like in front of the computer, doing all the processes, keeping. Oh, yeah. And you know what? Pace wouldn't be halfway successful as he is without Cody. And right. Cody couldn't do anything without Pace. So, that's what I find. Like all these people that I work with, they're good at different things I'm good at. And if they weren't there, man, you wouldn't see. I mean, I have 50, 60 different pictures on my wall of different businesses I have. You would only see 5. So is it better to have 5 and make 100% of the money? Or is it better to have 50 and make 50 or 40% of the money? I make 50 times more money having way more businesses owning part of it. And not only do I make more money, I do only the stuff I enjoy. Like that's really what matters. So I always say we because I always have a partner in almost every business. And besides the partners, I mean, I have really, really good high-level employees in most of my businesses, assistants, and all this stuff.
What are conversations at your dinner table like?
Well, if is it with my little 11-year-old daughter or is it with my with my wife? But no, we just talk about probably normal stuff that a normal family would talk about. We don't really talk about business or real estate hardly at all. We talk about, all right, what are we gonna do this weekend? All right, what do you want to eat? Let's go to this place. Let's go to this movie. Let's go to this comedy club. We'll talk about like normal stuff. What was your workout at the gym today? What who you going out with? What friends you hanging out with? What ball game you watching? Are you watching the UFC fights? Those are the things, and just kind of like how things went for the week with everybody, and just anything like that.
Man, oh, that's so phenomenal, dude. Tanner, I'm sure you maybe have a couple questions, but I know we should wrap this thing up fairly soon. I did want to ask you, how do you define success?
Easy. That's one of my favorite questions. So I define success as happiness. Happiness is really all that matters. So people ask me all the time, would you rather have $1 billion and not be very happy, or would you rather have $10 and be as happy as possible? And I always take the $10 and be happy as possible, because ultimately every single thing in life, like I have this pyramid actually that I made, and basically on the top, on the pinnacle is happiness, right? And every single thing you do in life, you only do it because it's eventually going to make you happy. Like if you do anything in life that's not going to ultimately get you to the happiness, there's no reason to do it. Like that's all you do. Like why do people work in real estate to wholesale or to fix and flip to make money? Because that money is going to lead them to something that they can buy or something they can do that's ultimately going to make them happy. So really, if you think about anything you do, whether it's going to the gym, going on a diet and watching your weight and getting in shape, you're not doing it because you want to get in shape. You're doing it because you're going to feel better, which is going to make you happy, right? You're not selling a home because you fucking enjoy, fixing and flipping and looking at it. You do it because that's going to make you enough money to be able to do something that's going to make you happy. Why do you spend time why do you want to have kids? Why do you want to have a pet? It's because you enjoy the time. It's making you happy. So basically, I don't care what it is. You pick anything in life. Ultimately, it's going to lead to the reason why you're doing it is because it's going to lead you to the top, which is going to make you happy. So that's what life is about. Amen,
brother. Tanner, you got anything in closing?
Yeah, I guess one question I would have to ask is, what's your goal for 2023?
Man, my goal this year is to blow up my YouTube and to blow up my social media. Like literally, here's the thing. I literally go to these conferences and I watch, I was just at a conference last week, and there was 1,000 people in attendance, and I watched the speakers there, and I listened to the speakers, and the speakers are good, right? I'm nothing against the speakers, but I could have been on there and literally have rocked the audience 100 times more than what these speakers. And I could have talked about anything else. They were talking about real estate. They were talking about business. They were talking about, stuff I know about, right? And, there's a few speakers that talk about stuff I don't know about, but whatever. But most of it was business. Most of it was real estate. And I listened to them talk. And I know I could literally make the audience learn so much more and really enjoy what I'm saying, even more than them. And they were good. But why wasn't I on stage? Why were these people on stage? I have way more experience than everyone that was on stage. I guarantee you I had more money than everyone put on stage together. Like, these are good, these people have some money. But I've been more successful than all of them. But the reason why I wasn't on stage and they were, because they have 200,000, 500,000 followers on YouTube. They have hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube, on Instagram, and all these places. So they're influencers. People know who they are. They're going to sell tickets. Well, not as many people, know who I am. Like, I just started my YouTube 6 months ago. I have 7,000 or so subscribers now. So I'm growing like over 1,000 a month. Instagram, I just started my Instagram, so I have a few things. I've been on Facebook forever, but that's why I'm not on these stages. So my goal is to get it to where I am like being wanted to be on all these stages, because first off, I know that I'm going to teach people, way more and at a higher level, and I could relate and I could break stuff down to the simplest, stupid things. And I'd love to do that. That's my next thing. I never, ever wanted to be in front of a lot of people and do that type of stuff until the last couple of years. And I realized I've been really successful in business, made a lot of money, but I fucked up really bad by not ever growing my social media. So all these people have been doing YouTube or Instagram for 10 years, 7 years, 6 years, and they just have a huge head start. And so that's my goal. My goal is to now get to them. So I try to go to all these events and hang out with the people that have done it, that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, that have a big following, because I learned from them. I see how they did it. I see why people like them. They're all great people. I love them all. Like, they're all good, right? And people want to listen to them because they have a big following. So that's my goal. And the fact that you're starting this podcast and doing all this, you're going to get there as well. And hopefully eventually you'll have a crazy amount of people watch. And the more people that watch, the more people that's gonna you're gonna help, and the more stuff you can do, and it's just gonna better your life as well.
Absolutely, brother. Abraham, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'm so excited. I'm glad to be in your network. I'm glad to have connected with you and finally, have a great conversation. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to just see what you're going to do, especially this year. I know we talked a little bit before we hit the record button about some cool projects that you've got coming up that you're about to launch. And, you crush it in the entertainment space, man. You've got Putt Nation, Bury the Hatchet, and Axe Throwing Business. So I can't wait to see some of this other stuff that's rolling out.
I got Sipping Plant up there. That's an arts and crafts studio that you can drink at. I got Putt Nation, miniature golf. I've got lots of gyms. I got a lot of other entertainment stuff as well. But I have oil change places. I have, you name it. I have businesses in every industry. But entertainment is just the most fun for me now. So I'm really trying to do more entertainment stuff because I got some really cool concepts that will do well. But yeah, everyone's got to subscribe and watch my videos on YouTube, Abraham Gray. And man, the more people that watch, the more videos I can make. And I'm going to show you stuff I've done from when I was like a little kid through my teenage years, through my 20s, 30s, 40s. And I make cool videos and I break it down. Like, I'll show you, how did I buy this $1 million business for no money? How did I, make all this money in this? How did I do this? What started it? So I break all that down and I do it really funny. Like, my videos,
absolutely.
They're funny, they're interesting, they're not boring, and they're not that long, so they're easy to watch. And
your videos are great, dude. They really are. And if I can give a plug for, one of the videos that I saw recently that you did that I really liked, because you do stuff differently. I always say, don't be better, be different. Yeah. Like, you did an awesome interview with your daughter. That was hilarious. Just to hear the perspective of someone, who's Abraham Gray's daughter. Like, it was funny when she said something about, or I think someone said something about being rich. And she was like, "We're rich." Like, it was just hilarious. It's like, man, that's great. But you did a reaction video to a Ryan Pineda video that he did. Yeah. And what I love, here's what I expected. What I expected was you in the video to just essentially agree to everything Ryan Pineda said. But you didn't. You had differing, opinions on things. And I'm like, this is the guy. Like, I want to follow more of his stuff. So I'm a subscriber. We're definitely going to link, your YouTube up and all your socials. How can people get in contact with you if anyone wants to send deals your way or just ask a question?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm on Facebook all the time. If I see that you have mutual friends and you're in the real estate business or other businesses that I do stuff with, I'm going to friend you, and then we could hit up there. But if you have like real estate deals particularly or other types of stuff, email me. My email is Abraham, ABRAHAM @ and MMA like mixed martial arts and then ATL like Atlanta.com. Abraham at MMAATL.com. That's how I get all my deals. But on Instagram, it's Abraham Gray Official. There's a fake Abraham Gray Official. My official has 2 Fs. There's somebody that has a 1 F. They've been reported 100 times and they won't take them down. They're trying to sell crypto and stuff. I don't do crypto. So if I ever text you and ask you to do crypto, it's a scam. But yeah, and then of course on YouTube, Abraham Gray and the videos there, I'm going to keep putting them out. So the reason why I did that Ryan Pineda video was because I actually never heard of him until like 6 months ago. And I started following him a little bit and I went to his event. So the last event I went to was his event. And anytime I go to somebody's event, I'll try to find some cool videos that they made and just react to them just so I could know them better. So I did that like a couple weeks before I went to his event. And
I see.
Cody Sanchez spoke at his event and Pace Morby and Jamil Danji spoke at his event. So I did like some I did one on Cody Sanchez. So every week I did a different person. But yeah, I broke down what I liked about what they said and what they don't like. And, Ryan's pretty smart. So like most of the stuff he said I agreed with, but I had a different view even though I agreed with it and just wanted to point out a few things even to take it a little bit further. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I watch some people's videos and there's a lot of stuff that I don't 100% agree with, but I'll point out why,
Absolutely. I think that's so important for people because a lot of times we can get tunnel vision by influencers and think that their way is the way, and you look at Pace and Jamil, they have 2 completely different strategies, yet they're both successful. And so it's just good for other people to see perspective really matters, and so thank you, bro, for being unique. Thank you for sharing your gift to the world. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for your time on our show. So
I appreciate it, man.
Guys.
Yeah, I was thanks to Jamil. That's how we met, right? So I've been lucky enough to meet Jamil and Pace a bunch of times at a bunch of events. They're the coolest fucking people to hang out with and learn from.
For real.
And that's how we met. But yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. Well, guys, we will see you on the next episode. Abraham, I look forward to our next meeting on the podcast. Hopefully it'll be 6 months, a year from now where we can chop up some pretty crazy stories of what's happening between now and then. I can't wait to hear about what you're going to be rolling out. But again, brother, thank you for your time. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
See you later. Thanks.
What up, Elite fan? That's a wrap for today's episode. But look, if you got value out of the show today, do us a huge favor and give us a review or give us a like or subscribe. Do all the things to help us get the word out there. And look, we want to see you on the next show. So get out there and crush it, make it happen. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.